everybody, Dr. Hill here at Advanced Animal Care Berea, and I am joined today by Miss Cher, our little clinic kitten, and I've got her today because we're going to be talking about some kitten care.
All right, Dr. Hill, what is the most important thing to know about raising a healthy kitten?
Yeah, so the best thing to do is to bring them to the vet. And I know that sounds a little cliche being a veterinarian, but we can make sure that they're healthy at that first visit. We can figure out what vaccines they need to receive so that they can ward against some common viral and bacterial diseases, as well as if your cat came from an outdoor, maybe a stray situation, make sure that they don't have any diseases that we commonly see spread through outdoor cat populations. So making sure that they're healthy really gets you off to the right foot, because then we can also talk about things like diet. We can talk about things like preventative care against fleas, ticks, intestinal parasites, heartworms, and ear mites. We can also talk about making some lifestyle recommendations about activity level, housing, litter boxes, things like that, as well as discussing spaying or neutering your pet.
So, what are the right and wrong ways to pick up my kitten?
So the biggest thing is you always want to make sure that they feel comfortable and supported. So as you can kind of see that I'm holding Cher here, I'm supporting the underside of her body with my feet. A lot of people like to do what I call the Lion King hold with cats, and it can kind of freak them out a little bit at first. So I wouldn't recommend that right off the bat, but the biggest thing is you want to make sure that you just have good support of them. A lot of times they like some body contact, but you're just going to have to feel out your kitten because each one's got its own personality.
That's right. So how can I tell if my kitten is happy and healthy?
So if they're eating, playing, interacting with you, they're not hiding all the time, they're taking naps comfortably out in the open, those are all good signs. But if you've got a really nervous kitten, they're hiding a lot, maybe you find them in the closet quite a bit, they're not eating well, they're not having consistent litter box habits for urination and defecation, that would definitely be a reason to have them checked out and just making sure that everything else is okay.
So how should I feed my kitten?
So, each vet's going to have their own recommendations for these guys as they're growing, especially when they're really little. I'm a big fan of making sure that there's food down all the time. Of course, as they start maturing and getting older, I definitely recommend that gets a bit more regulated. So once they kind of hit that year of age mark, that's when we get a little bit more strict about our nutritional and dietary needs. But the biggest thing is making sure that they have access to kitten food as well as fresh, clean water all the time is really important.
So how soon should I bring my new kitten in to see the veterinarian?
So you can bring them in as soon as you want, but even if they're 2 weeks of age, hopefully they're not that little, hopefully they're still with their mama at that point. But if you get one when it's 6 weeks of age, we love to see them then. That's generally when we start their vaccine series. We can see them even as late as 12 weeks of age or out to 16 weeks of age, or even if you get your kitten when it's 8 or 9 months old, still bring them in so that we can make sure that we're getting everything that they need to keep them healthy and get them started right.
So how can I get the most out of my first vet visit with my new kitten?
I would definitely write down any questions that you have to ask the technical staff or the veterinarian. My technical staff here is super knowledgeable, and so a lot of these guys can answer any question you have, and I don't want you guys to think that any question is stupid, because even some of the ones that seem like they're silly or like they should be common sense, go ahead and ask it, because everybody here has experience with kittens and we all have recommendations to make and ways to help. So definitely write down those questions. And then, just following the advice and the recommendations of the professional, whether it be the veterinarian or the staff that we have here. The vaccines are really important. Making sure that we don't have intestinal parasites is going to be really important. And then that way too, we can kind of get you geared up for what kind of lifestyle you think your cat's going to have. Are they going to be indoor only with you? Because we might make some recommendations that would be different for a kitty that's living outside all the time. So just come prepared with those questions, and we're happy to talk.
So what will you be looking for during an initial kitten care visit?
Yeah, so I want to make sure that their teeth and gums look healthy. I want to make sure that their hard palate, kind of the roof of their mouth, has formed properly. Looking at eyes and ears, making sure that nothing looks too small. Listening to their heart to make sure that they have a good, normal, consistent heartbeat, and listening to those lungs. It's not uncommon sometimes for these guys to get a little sneezy or develop an upper respiratory tract infection, just so making sure everything sounds okay, as well as making sure that we didn't develop any hernias, which are, can be common from where the umbilical cord attaches, as well as making sure that lymph nodes, there's no fleas or ticks or anything like that on these guys, that everything really looks healthy.
Why is it important to avoid self-diagnosing possible kitten health problems?
So the biggest thing is a lot of things can carry the same symptoms in these guys, and some of the same, like one symptom could have 10 different causes, and so the best way to figure out what that is to bring them to a trained medical professional, so that we can really make sure that we're treating the problem that your cat has or your kitten has, and not something that it could look like.
All right, thank you so much.
You're so welcome.